Thanks for staying with us. Yesterday, January 15th, was our annual Armed Forces Remembrance Day. It's a day set aside every year to commemorate serving men of the armed forces and remember those who died in the line of duty. This morning we'll be celebrating the exploits and services of these distinguished men. Oftentimes we don't celebrate them. We don't even remember to celebrate them. We just walk past it or talk past it. But in the next few minutes, we want to focus and be deliberate about talking and celebrating these men who fight to keep our nation intact. You can join the conversation on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Today, we'd like to hear from those family members of loved ones who've lost their lives in the line of duty, those who know widows who are still expecting some kind of severance package, those who have loved ones that are there right now, that are currently serving, those who just are connected somehow, and even Nigerians, if you just want to celebrate, say something encouraging to members of the armed forces. It would be nice for us to cut this clip and send it to them so they know that Nigerians are really talking about them and know and appreciate the work they do. So call us. We'd love to join. I would love you to join this conversation. Let me start with Nima, because you are trying to start this conversation while we're taking the paper review on your experience you've had with people who have complained, or you've seen and observed that some are not being well taken care of even after they've lost their loved ones.
So I have young soldiers, family friends. In fact, there was this young man. It was a shock for me to hear that he enlisted with the army, and he was immediately posted to Bama in the heat of the Boko Haram. We didn't see him for 3 years. When he later got a relief, he came back. I still didn't see him. Was sent to Ikorodu and then back to the war zone and all of that. So there was another one, close family friend of mine, who died in the middle of the war. When he enlisted also, he died. And he didn't want to join the army. It was a tough decision because for him, the late one, he didn't have a job on time and the army was recruiting. And so he joined. We were all praying. Every day when he goes and comes, I will say, I know you will survive everything. Then the sad news came. We all rallied around his mom, said sorry. But till today, every day I pass the mom, she's just looking like this. You know, so I just wonder if there's an office with the army that reaches out so that, you know, she too can own it. Because we saw, sadly, Russia is not a good example, but we saw the president of Russia, meet with the mother of all the young men who had died. He hosted them, had a meeting, something that makes you think, okay, it's fine.
Remember,
this sacrifice is mine to make. Not that you make it seem like, no, whatever happened, it's normal to die. You know, one thing go kill man, all those kind of nonsense things they say. If we sleep for ourselves, death will come. You know, so people, just such tough love kind of commiserations that I don't understand. Somebody has just lost someone, but you're making it seem okay. Sometimes can be crossing the road, people die every day, all that is, you know. And that's the way I think we think. And then we don't understand this, supreme sacrifice that it is for somebody's life to be taken for the peace and unity of our nation. Yeah. So that some people will just be careless in their speeches, even online, typing and tweeting all sorts of things, endlessly inciting people. Right. So
what are your thoughts on this?
It breaks my heart.
So we do this ceremonial remembrance, and I feel like what we're doing on the 15th of January is a lot of ceremony, but we are not deliberately inculcating the culture of celebrating and honoring our military officers, our soldiers. It's the respect and honor that is done on a consistent basis, not that one day that we do this beautiful ceremony, laying of wreath, which is important, but beyond that, how are we treating our soldiers on a daily basis? Of course, there are a few bad eggs, but if we really count every incident of the few bad eggs that have been documented as compared to the several heroic moments in history, we know that the bad eggs are very small. And there are indeed many of our soldiers who are heroes indeed. You know, a young man enlists and a few months after, he knows he's going to the war front, like he's going into a place, not like war front in the terms of what we're fighting is what they call guerrilla warfare. We don't really know when the attack will take place, but you know that when you are going towards this zone, when you enter there, you are at the risk of losing your life. And these people go there, they serve, knowing that every day they are going to work, they might be losing their lives. And when they come back to the streets of Lagos or the cities, it's just like business as usual. There are other countries where we know we can never repay you for the ultimate sacrifice that you might end up going through. But we will so honor you while you are alive and honor your death that people would love to go and serve. As of today, what Nima has said, very few are going to serve just because they really want to serve. As of today, like what Nima said, it's, oh, we don't have a job, let's do this. But it happens to be a category of people that are going to serve. The second category is my father served, my grandfather served, I also want to follow in the line. Right. But why don't we have people that will say, I love my country so much, I love the honor that goes to soldiers, I would love to serve. Exactly. For me, it's beyond celebrating. One day, it's honoring them every day and inculcating a culture of respect from Nigerians to soldiers.
Come to you, Mariam. Your thoughts on this, and how do you think we should honor these people?
Well, first of all, we're grateful that we have a day like this where we can come together as a country, one voice, you know, together and honor them. Nima and Tope are right in the sense that we need to do this better. But for me, I'm charging regular Nigerians, not government, when we're talking about acknowledging them and appreciating them. It has to be something that you and I understand to do. You know, the respect should come from us as well. It shouldn't be about when government does this or does that. Yes, there's so many things that, you know, in our country that's not working well. But just recently, we know that the president had signed billions of naira towards some allowances that had been owed, you know, for a while. And this is to make up, you know, especially retirees, dependents of the soldiers who had lost their lives. This is government trying to do its best, you know. But I think I have the privilege of having relatives growing up. I was surrounded by soldiers, and I've seen, you know, I have relatives, friends, and the military is not a quack organization. They don't just pick people off the street. They train them. They instill discipline in them. I know of young boys, you know, even now, who have said, this is what I want to do. I want to serve my country. Maybe we don't see a lot. And that's something I see here. I don't think a lot of the South, please correct me if I'm wrong, Southerners do not really join the military like they do in the Middle Belt in the North. Young boys, that's their ambition. They're growing up to one day serve their country. And so for me, when I see us regular Nigerians show disrespect or mock them, or, you know, it breaks my heart. There was a time that one of my friends that I went to secondary school with called me to say, oh, my brother had gone off and we haven't heard from the military for a while. So these are the things I would like us to talk to, you know, the top officials to do the right thing by the dependents of these officers. Where if you, there used to be a time where something would happen and the family is unable to reach them and they're hearing conflicting stories all around social media. Please, I mean, I see it in the movies, they would visit, the military should visit the family, they should hear from the military first, not from social media what happened or what did not happen, and then in the end you say, this is what happened. So, you see that, we need to give them back their dignity, one, in their welfare, two, in teaching in schools the importance and the importance and just, you know, the importance of the military and the pride we should have in the Nigerian military. The global firepower, so this is a body that ranks military all around the world, and Nigeria is the fourth most powerful military in Africa. We're 35th in the world. You know, we should be proud. It counts for a lot. We should be proud. Yes, I agree, there's lots of things going wrong in our country, but in the little things that are good, let us celebrate it. No one will celebrate it for us. Let's celebrate our soldiers more.
Abroad, I mean, there are always issues. I mean, different nations are peculiar in the kind of issues they go through, say when it comes to their military. So, for example, abroad, their issue is not welfare. Their issue is probably reconciling to the society. How do they get jobs? How do they stop having the trauma they have of the war? You know, those are the real issues. Their own military is hoping that government can help them, but in our own, we're still at the stage of welfare. Not even started talking about how to heal afterwards. That's even a long-term issue. But for us, welfare, the widows, you're saying that there should be an office. I'm almost certain there is an office, but the disbursement of funds is government prioritizing their funding to ensure that the service commission or whoever is in charge of disbursing funds for the widows and the family of the loved ones should do so in due time. That's the real issue. And to understand the importance of, you know, ensuring that government does its own part of the deal. I mean, as I said, it's not easy for us to just commemorate them today, but it's to have a culture of continually acknowledging. Mariam was sharing a story of the fact that she had some military officers come to do something in her house, and they stayed for 5 hours in the sun. They didn't come down to ask for water. They didn't ask for the food. They just stand. She was really worried about them. She came outside and said they didn't take anything.
Yeah.
It's the kind of discipline that you hardly see. Nigerian police, I don't know if they would do that. Nigerian police will go, Madam, will give us pure water. But these guys are they are disciplined. And that must count for something where we know this is our military. They are fighting war. And they are guarding our nation. The only reason why we're a nation is because we have a military, strong military holding forth.
There's something called administration within the military. When you drive through the job barracks, I drove there, I passed through yesterday evening on my way back, and I just looked at some of the features. Schooling there, I entered the barracks first time, 91. Schooling there, looking at things falling up. It used to be the largest. Their trainings were here in a far distance. I see things and I'm not impressed anymore. I think that the present administration are just leaving things to flow on their own. So there's a select that they will take care of. But the largest number, and you will see it in the morning. If you drive on the Badagry Expressway, soldiers are hailing cars. In those days, they had fleets of buses, taking them to Abati, taking them to Dodan. Nobody, they joined buses and be joining issues with a civilian. They carried themselves with kind of dignity. If you're going home now from Erikmo, you just see them standing at Orile bus stop or different bus stop. You just be seeing them hailing cars going towards Ojo. It's okay if you want to be a nice civilian and help them. But it used to be in the past that it would be one, not several, that you see on the road. And there was budget.
That indignity that we had.
There was budget for this. These are people who are on the pool to be called whenever our security or our sovereignty as a nation is questioned. They are waiting for that. So they resume every day. They take a roll call. Treat them with some form of dignity. The budget cannot be at the bottom. It has to be at the top.
Right. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'd like to take some phone calls. I'd really like to hear from Nigerians today. Let's just take this few minutes to remember our fallen heroes. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So we're still celebrating our fallen heroes, and even those who are still at the forefront fighting for our nation. I'm going to be taking Mrs. Ladeji from Jos. Good morning, madam. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there, Morayo, and ladies, good morning.
You're live. Yes, ma'am. You're live. Go ahead, ma'am.
And thank you. Tell your husband I'm very grateful for allowing you all on this program.
Thank you, madam.
My heart goes to the families of the fallen heroes. You know, it's unfortunate we don't have a caring government. Even people who retired every 10 years, no benefit. Do they even think about the people that are dead? But unfortunately, yes, doesn't take only soldier, it takes everybody. Whatever they reap as a government, they must sow in their own personal life. But let the whole of Nigeria use today to talk to our government. If you see how, military and the paramilitary people are enjoying in the other world, in Western world, it's wrong with us. You see that we don't have the resources of work, but then we be flying up and down and doing several things with our money. These people that risk their life every day, they are the ones that they are protected all the time. They are not protecting you at night. They are protecting all these people. 300 of them will follow one man, and this is right. He has 2 heads.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Ladeji. Yes, so we have the fallen heroes, and we also have those who are also at the front line, and they still lack equipment. They lack support. We saw videos in the few years past when the people had complained saying that we need ammunition, we need to be able to have equipment to engage the enemy. And that's also part of this that we also remember during this period.
We also saw when there was a situation of no toilets in a particular, I think it was a training school.
There was police.
Oh, that was police. Okay, sorry. Let's not confuse. But the woman, this our last caller mentioned something, okay, that they are protecting VIPs. And I know that it's easy to highlight. VIPs? There are a few military officers that do the same thing as well.
I can pick pictures of true VIPs.
Go.
Was police.
Let's just leave it.
But with the full jet.
Like I mentioned earlier, when you pick up the few things that you feel are wrong, the majority, like 90% of military is focused on every time trying to serve this country, and they know it might cost their life. And if you have majority serving, let's focus on how to care for those majority and inspire more people. We don't have, I'm sure that if we do a census of the ratio of military officers that we should have, there's room for more. We should have more. But how many people are, and then we try to colorize this thing like, oh, we don't want to do this. Who want your child to be in the military? Would you want your child to be? Well, if nobody wants to go into the military, how do we protect the sovereignty? Because if anything goes wrong, you want to say, deploy military to the place.
But we
deploy military
used
to the
be
place.
big devil brother. In fact, we're still big brothers to a lot of nations in Africa. So we can't just take this issue of military with levity. Let me take this call from Just Salisu. Good morning, you're there.
Just people.
Good morning. Right. And good morning to the ladies.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, I am a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So, I'm happy of the topic you guys are talking about.
Okay.
It's a very important topic to me because, for one, I am from a family of military. My dad was a retired army officer. He served this country for 35 years. He's a Civil War veteran. He fought in the Biafra War. He's still alive, very, very strong and happy. I have 2 serving officers as brothers, blood brothers in the army.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I understand what it means to be in the military. I have friends, colleagues that are in the military. And believe you me, the military is the only thing that we have keeping this country together. People just sit down and try to talk bad about the military. Like the Alaja have said, a lot of things have gone wrong in the military. A lot of ethics have come down. It's not like that. Most of the activities you see today is just because of politicians still play a part in bringing people into the recruitment processes. But still, I can tell you for a fact, the military always wants to be straight in what they do. Because of this is the only organization that has that high level of professionalism. No matter how we see it, it's the only organization of the uniform job that has high level of professionalism still, but it's not like before. It's not like before. We have a department called Department of Veteran Affairs in the Army. It handles everything about the ex-servicemen and the issues of the dead. But mostly, I want to believe that they don't do much on the dead because of all military personnel are supposed to be on that life insurance. So when you do that for the military, it means that today if somebody loses his life, there is an insurance cover for the family to handle first before even the benefits. So I think if the military hierarchy are hearing me, they should look at that issue of putting every military personnel, not only military, every uniform personnel under insurance because of every day they go out, they are at risk of losing their life.
Thank you so much, Salisu.
He understands.
A few more comments before we wrap up on this.
I wanted to quickly add that, another sad example is having military control traffic. That's the anointing. Go to Alakija. You will see military controlling traffic. In fact, I stopped once. One was my classmate from university. I stopped and I saw him early in the morning at 6 a.m. We parked, we gisted, and I was pained because he's educated, he has a degree in law. He should be in the higher offices. Let's put dignity back in the military. There used to be dignity in the military so that children looked up to it. It was a job people aspired to. And when you aspire to it, it's not that you don't understand what the sacrifice was, but you felt that dignity came. 2 cases that I knew of moved from our own military here and found a way to relocate abroad and join military in other countries. They were even in the higher ranks. Let's put dignity back. We know we can do these things. And it's not hard to call out government.
As we wrap up, we just want to once again celebrate our fallen heroes. A few comments before we wrap up.
He says, bringing respect for the military back lies squarely with the government and the military itself. In Sena clients, soldiers don't go on the road to argue with downfall drivers and flog civilians. Keep them in the barrack and treat them well.
Festus Akimboyewa says, let's learn to walk up to those who wear the uniforms of our armed forces and say to them kind words like, thank you for your service, well done, you're doing a great job. This will remind them always that they are close to our heart and the heart of our nation. He also says, sadly, there are many of our military service men and women who are daily demonstrating an uncommon heroism that is not recorded and recognized. These servicemen and women endure hardships and fears daily. Time to appreciate the sacrifices of our military officers. And
finally, I'd like to just say that this is another we the people, I think, also because there are leadership at various levels. There's somebody in charge of the Veterans Commission that the Akola mentioned. There's somebody in charge of welfare. There's somebody in charge of ammunition. There are leaders at all levels. And when people prioritize lives, prioritize the fact that Our military officers must be taken care of. Their loved ones, when they pass on, must be cared for. They must be given insurances. Even those on the field must have proper ammunition to be cared for, uniforms, things that gives them dignity, confidence, and pride. So it's one thing to have a policy. It's one thing to have a budget. It's another thing to actually disburse. It's another thing to actually ensure that they get it, that the right people get what they're supposed to get. So there's a huge difference, and it all comes back to leadership. Who is leading at every level? It's one thing you can blame the president, but you can also blame all the various levels of people who are in charge. So we use this opportunity again to commemorate with this day, Armed Forces Day in Nigeria, and say that may their souls rest in peace, those who are fallen and those who are alive, and may God continue to give them the strength to defend our nation. Let's go on a break now. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.